Hello everybody, Ankilo Ink here with Joe speaking. It's been a while since I've done a card showcase. I figured it should be time. Well, I guess the last time I did a card showcase was 3 videos ago. But, yeah, I haven't gotten a whole lot of work done on the card game. I've done some important stuff. I've done a lot of play testing with Devin. But yeah, I want to keep this intro short and kind of just get into it since it's been a while. I do want to quickly mention, I changed the equip cards. So now, if we come over here to Peanut Chain, which has been nerfed, you can change its state to the equipped version when you play it, and then you can just play it right there onto the little icon, or I guess you can really play it anywhere. I prefer to play them there, however. And yeah, you can right click it and still see the ability and all that. That was a big thing that I added recently. Well, not recently, but again, I haven't worked on this game in a while. I still plan to finish it. I'm close. I've only got less than 30 left, I think. So yeah, not a whole lot left. Just between beta testing and fixing some of the broken cards. It's just a lot of busybody work that I don't want to get into. So yeah, let's get going. First up, we've got Stinkhorn. I love Stinkhorn. He's one of my most favorite designs. The mushrooms in general have some of my favorite cards. He's a very decent stat card. He's got no ability. He's pretty easy to kill, but that high attack makes him worth it. Then we've got Rainbow Mato, which is an interesting card. It changes the type of the target plant. So before, the big reason why you would want to keep types limited in your deck is because cards could only evolve into their type. So a Terravines could only evolve into a Leaf Wing, or Punish Shell could only evolve into an Embark, because they're both of their same type plants. But I think I'm going to change it because evolution is it's kind of a weak mechanic anyways. So I think I'm just going to remove that restriction so you can just evolve a plant. So a 1 or a 2 can be played on any 1. Then we've got Melon Root, which is a very, I really like how he turned out. He actually looks like a watermelon. Again, another stat card. I think I need to buff him a little bit, or maybe I don't. Maybe I need to debuff his counterpart. Anyway, so yeah, a very, very solid card. And he's got a silver boost. Silver Melon Root. One of my favorite cards. I really love the perspective that I drew for Melon Root. With his, like, pickaxe arms, I guess you could call him, and then like his mouth is in the middle opening up. It's just a very fun card. When played, increase the attack of all fruit plants on the field by 20. Maybe this was the card I was thinking of. But yeah, a very strong card. Very helpful in fruit decks, obviously. But yeah, moving on. We've got Lime Acid, the opposite of Lemon Acid. If I can quickly scope it out. There it is. Lemon Acid, which lowers the attack of a plant by 20. Then you have Lime Acid, which lowers the defense by 20. Very nice, useful support cards. Garlic Onion. Garlic Onion has gone through quite a few changes. He used to be really overpowered. So right now, the first time this plant is damaged, you get to move a plant. It used to be any time Garlic Onion was damaged, you would get to move a plant, which was just ridiculous. But yeah, Garlic Onion, a very, very helpful card if you need to move something, because there's not a whole lot of cards that just let you move something, and plus it's a plant, so I mean, and he's got a silver boost too. Silver Garlic Onion. When played, lower the attack of all plants on the field except this plant by 20. So he's just a very disruptive card. And then the first time this plant is damaged, you can move a plant. So he's got the same ability as his base form. I really love the design. I love how he's all eaten up and stuff, and I think he turned out really well. So yeah. Then we've got Stumpwarder. Stumpwarder it's basically a stronger version of Strawberry, which I have buffed to ignore defense. But Stumpwarder, you play it to the front line instead, but you're getting 50 attack power. It costs 1 more. It's a little beefier. Actually, it's a lot beefier than Strawberry, but it is kind of a direct upgrade to Strawberry with a few different things. But while I've never really gotten Stumpwarder to work, mostly because I never drew it at the right time, Devin, we had a battle where he got like 2 of them on the field, and he really did damage to me, really. So he got some good use out of it. Oberylisk. It's got no attack, no defense, just 150 health. But so it's an expensive card too at 4. Sacrifices give 3 energy. Berry plants in this lane gain 10 attack and defense, not including this one. So Oberylisk is a very, very helpful support card. Getting 3 energy from sacrifices is super good. Oberylisk, Silver Dilopho and Rebus are some really good, are really key components for like a ramp deck, you know, getting more energy than your opponent and then playing like stronger cards with that. Dandy Swarm Ent. When killed, if there is another Ent on the field, play all 2 cost and lower weed plants from your hand to any available zones. So if you got like a weed focused deck and just a bunch of weak weed plants, you get lucky and have a Dandy Swarm die when you have another Ent, then you can just spam a whole bunch of plants. I think I might change Dandy Swarm up a bit. The fact that he has to die while you have another Ent on the field can be challenging, because obviously then the other Ent's going to be a priority target. It's not that bad, but he's 4 cost and he doesn't have the best stats for a 4 cost. 100 attack is very good though. Next, we have New Cobbler. New Cobbler has saved me a few games with Devin. I love using it. When your opponent makes a point, destroy all cards on the field. You can only have 1 copy of this card in your deck. So it's a board wipe. It's a board clear, and it's a very useful one. It costs 4, so it's an expensive trap. It's probably best used in a ramp deck because you'll most likely be losing anyways. No, maybe you won't. I don't know. When I tried a ramp deck, I was always losing. It is hard to utilize though. You really have to use it at the right moment. So next up, Magna Nut. It's a weaker card. He's not the worst. So Capped Golem used to have this ability. If possible, all enemy plant attacks must target this plant. I decided to make Capped Golem just a stat card. And Silver Cap Golem now, when played, your opponent must discard a card. When killed, your opponent loses 2 energy. So it's a much more disruptive card. And then Magna Nut having this magnet ability, you know, having all attacks that can target him, must target him. It just thematically makes sense. And it's I really like how he turned out. He looks very, very good. I think the energy bolt between the red and blue halves of the magnet are a little wonky, but everything else about him's fine. Now, Magna Nut here has a silver boost. Honestly, usually when I make a silver boost, like Cap Golem, or Raz Spider, or who else, anybody else, Silver Melon Root. Usually I have a general idea of what I want. When I was making a silver version of Magna Nut, it was less so because I had an idea for it, and more so because the roots needed another silver boost. Because there's going to be 2 silver boosts for every type, and I didn't want to do any of the other plants. So Magna Nut was, you know, the best option. I think it's best to just show you the card. So this is Silver Magna Nut. You could say it's Lovecraftian abomination. I still like it. Honestly, I couldn't tell you what it is. I'm pretty sure it's a plant. I mean, it's got Magna Nut shell. There's some leaves in there somewhere. Yeah, I'm sure it's somebody's paralysis sleep demon, but And let's get into the ability. When played, shuffle a plant on the field into the owner's deck. Then that player shuffles their hand into their deck and draws 4 cards. If possible, all enemy plants must target this plant. So let's section this up. When played, shuffle a plant on the field into the owner's deck. That in itself is a very helpful card, or ability. You can send one of your opponent's heavy hitters, or just an annoying card in general, or you can save one of your plants. Then that player shuffles their hand into their deck and draws 4 new cards. If that player has less than 4 cards, obviously that's a bonus. If they have more, that could be a detriment. Alternatively, if you yourself have a bad hand and you have a card that you want to save, you can play this. Because Magna Nut, while he doesn't have a great attack, he's awful attack and okay defense. But that 120 health, it's a very decent block. He'll sit there and block a lane for a turn or 2. So that gives you a chance to re-strategize, especially if you use its ability on one of your plants. So let's just move on. Zombicide, a very it's not really, again, another weird quote-unquote plant creature. It's based off the fungus, the mushrooms that take control of ants and use their bodies to grow or something. I know more about this plant. I just can't think of it off the top of my head because I'm tired or something. I don't know. But this plant, when this attacks a plant, lower the target plant's defense by 20. 5 all around is, pretty terrible, even for a 1. Maybe for a 1 it's not that bad. Basically you're playing it to whittle something that has a lot of defense. So if your opponent's playing a very defensive-oriented deck, probably a root deck at that point, then taking a Zombicide to just lower that defense it's basically a lemon acid, but you have the possibility of using it multiple times. The downside is that it's a plant, so you only have 2 turns or 2 chances to play it in 1 turn, and you might want to use one of those options, option 1, option 2, option 3 actions. Sorry, it sounded wrong, but I couldn't think of the word that it's actions. Action 1, you can only use it on action 2 or 3. So you might want to use those actions for something else. Even playing a better creature. So that's why I think Lime Acid might still be a usable card. Next up, Bitterang is an interesting card. It can only be equipped to berry plants. When that plant is killed, return it to the owner's hand. The plant returned to the hand costs 1 less, unless it is a silver boost. So this can be a very helpful support card. If you use it on any of the 1-cost berry plants, you're getting a free card, which is always helpful, and would be the only example of that ever happening. And then obviously any of the 2s, it becomes a 1, 3s become 2s, 4s become 3s. So it's just it is kind of expensive. You probably don't want to use it. It's in this weird spot because 3's right in the middle. So using it on a really weak creature, sure, maybe a Cherry Popper, Cherry Spark. Cherry Popper is the old name. I quickly removed that once I realized the secondary meaning behind Cherry Popper. Cherry Spark might be a good card to use with Berryrang, but then again, obviously, Oberylisk would be better. So next up is Uproot. Uproot is first of all, I love it. It looks so good. It turned out extraordinarily well. And it's a very simple card. You just move a plant. You can move an enemy, you can move one of yours, you just get to move a plant. That's it. Garlic Onion, again, it's kind of the same problem with Zombicide and Lime Acid. Garlic Onion is the exact same ability. Same with Silver Garlic Onion. The problem is that it only happens once. Same with Uproot. So do you want to have a creature or do you want to have a spell? That type of thing. Plural War, and it's simple. All your cards cost 1 less while this is on the front line. That's it. It's a very, very useful support card, especially if you can keep it alive for more than, say, 4 turns, which at that point you would definitely have its cost paid for. It's very weak. It will die pretty easily, especially since it's on the front line. Next up is Bark Armor. Bark Armor's gone through a lot of changes, but right now it's sitting at a 2 cost. The equipped plant gains 20 defense, can only be equipped to root plants. So it's kind of the equivalent to Banana Sword, only it can only be equipped to root cards. So then we have Gordian. I like Gordian. It's not one of my favorite design cards. It's kind of simple. It's based off of, I think it's like the Chinese Fire Gourd or the Japanese Chinese Gourd, whatever. The thing that they use to like put water in and stuff. I do realize that Gourd is kind of like a broad term for, you know, pumpkin, squash, that type of thing. But when I think of a Gourd, I think of that plant specifically. Probably because I'm a nerd, but whatever. So he's got 35 attack, 60 defense, 75 health. He's a defense-oriented card, and he's got a really cool ability. While on the field, if your opponent were to get a point from a plant attack, move this to any available zone in that lane, and then it would block that attack. So it's a very helpful defensive card, especially if you have a lot of lanes, a lot of open lane. Alright, this video is at 20 minutes, or I mean I've been recording for 20 minutes. I'm going to start wrapping up here. This will probably turn into close to an 18-minute video. I usually get to cut out 2 minutes. So yeah, not a whole lot of cards left that I have to show. I've still got, I'm just going to say less than 30 cards left to make. It'll be released on Tabletop, so any of you who have Tabletop can play it. Me and Devin are thinking about making a, well, not really, it'll be the card game, but in a digital format. Though that won't be for a long time. That's all I've got. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.